Hey, how's it going, guys? Welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Georgie Man, and I'm your friendly neighborhood anime and manga fan. I love all things anime and all things manga, and I'm here today to talk about Oshi no Ko episode 3. So, what did I think about this week's episode? I thought it was a great episode, and we got to see a lot of development with the character of Aqua, which is a character that I wasn't particularly fond of in the first episode, but now we get to see how much she's developed since the time skip, as well as we get to see a lot of Aqua and, you know, what kind of methods he'll go and how far he'll go just to find out who the killer of their mom is. Now, before we get into this week's episode, I just wanted to give you guys a quick reminder to make sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel so you guys can be up to date with all Oshi no Ko, as well as all anime and manga content I'll be providing in this channel. It really helps out a lot, so if you guys could, I would really appreciate it if you guys could subscribe to my YouTube channel. It really helps out a lot, so please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Now, with that out of the way, let's get into this week's episode. So the episode kicks off where we left off last episode, which is pretty much Kana meeting Aqua and Ruby and, you know, catching up, because it's been, you know, almost a decade or so since they've seen each other. So they catch up, and you can tell obviously that Kana has a huge crush, or she has some admiration towards Aqua, and it would make sense. I mean, Aqua's a good looking guy, plus she has history with him in the sense that they work together, and it would make sense. I mean, she was, you know, thanks to him, you know, being in the movie with her, it changed her entire outlook in the industry as a whole, because back then she was a spoiled brat and all she cared about, you know, was trying to outshine everybody. But ever since she met, you know, Aqua in the set, and, you know, she got outperformed by him, you know, it gave her like a little, you know, she became a little humble. Like, you know, she realized, like, you know, it's not all about me. You know, there's many more factors when it comes to a movie besides me. Like, and I thought that was a great development with her, because, you know, in the first part, like I said, I wasn't the biggest fan. I just thought she was an annoying brat. But it's good to see that she had some character development throughout the years, and, you know, she is a completely different person. I would go as far as to say that she's the complete opposite of, you know, how she used to be. By continuing on, we see pretty much that, you know, Aqua explains to her that, yeah, you know, I only joined this prep school, whatever, so I can be with my sister, you know. And, you know, Kana's just like, no, you should, you know, go pursue acting, dude. You're really good at it. You should, I got some connections. I could hook you up. And he's like, nah. And eventually, you know, he's walking home, and she's just kind of like stalking him. And to be frank, like, she's kind of just like in the background, just being like, hey, you should come with me, and like you should be like in this show that I'm starting in. And, you know, Aqua's like, nah, I'm not interested. And it's funny because throughout the whole time, she's just asking, like, where do you live? And like he's just like, dude, like, chill out, bro. Like, you coming off me a little bit too strong. And it's funny because I think she has a crush on him. It's either that or, you know, it's just very funny. She's blushing a lot. You know, like I said, he's a good looking guy, so it would make sense. You know, they're teenagers, you know, so I wouldn't be too surprised if she has a crush on him. So what happens after that is that eventually she's like, hey, we should, you know, catch up and meet up, and I'll tell you all about it. And he's like, well, I mean, where do you want to go? I'm kind of busy. And she's like, well, we can't go to a karaoke or a coffee shop because I'm kind of a celebrity. So how about if, you know, we go back to my place? So then Aqua's like, isn't that a little bit too forward? And then she's just like, I mean, do you have any other ideas? So, you know, what they do, they end up actually going to the director's house, because that's a place that Aqua always hangs out at anyway, so it makes sense. And it was funny because, you know, Kana's reaction to seeing the director, she's just like, oh my god, you're such a loser. You're like in your 40s and you still live with your mom. Like, she just goes off on him, and it's pretty funny because the director's just like, what? Like, how dare you, like, talk to me like that? So it was funny just catching up, and, you know, they catch up for a bit, and eventually, you know, she keeps pursuing Aqua, like, hey, you should be in this show that I'm starting in. Like, it could be really helpful for your career. And Aqua's like, I'm not interested, you know, like, I'm a good actor. Like, that's what the director says. The director keeps, you know, telling Aqua and, you know, Kana, like, yeah, he's a good actor and all, but like, I don't think he wants to pursue it. But everything changes the second that, you know, Kana mentions that, you know what, this show that I'm starting it is being produced by this particular person. And what happens is Aqua has a whole, like, you know, realization. Like, he realizes something's up, because we find out through a flashback that after I died, you know, she had 3 phones, you know, and one of them, she was like locked. Like, she had her, you know, her phone was locked, and you had to unlock it, you know. And Aqua, the mad man that he is, even as a baby, he cracked that password limit. Like, he kept going on and on and on and on. And what it would start is, you know, after 10 tries, it would like reset 30 seconds. And then after that, you have to wait like an hour. So my man tried 45,000 times. He tried until he finally unlocked the password. To say that Aqua's, you know, dedicated in revenge would be an understatement, because that feat that he did, that was like, that's insane. Like, I could not even picture attempting to do something like that. The amount of patience and time, and, you know, the time constraint that it would take, that just gives you a little bit of insight on his character. And what we find out is once he does unlock the phone after the 45,000 try, he finally sees that, he looks through the contacts and it's all these people that have been, in the business with Ai, she had connections with. And the name that, Kana brings up about the producer, it's one of the people that, was in her phone. So he automatically just jumps on the gun and he's like, you know what, I'm going to join. Like, absolutely, I'm going to join in. And Kana's like, okay, cool, sounds good. And what you see is that, she tells them like it's gonna be this show. So Aqua pretty much tells his adopted mom and Ruby like, hey, let's check it out. Like, let's check out how the show is. And from the looks of it, the show just looks like super cringe and super generic, super corny. And they're like, what is up with this? Because like she's such a very talented actress. Why would she settle down for such a crappy show? And what we see is that she pretty much breaks down the fact that this show isn't amazing. However, all these people are giving it their all. And yes, the actors that I'm working with are pretty like amateurish to say the least, but I'm still gonna give it my all because I am an actress and I will never give nothing but my best. Like, I'm just gonna always give 100% because that's what they're paying me for, and that's my craft. I'm a very passionate actress and I'm always gonna give it my all. And I thought that was very great. I'm really starting to like Kana, and I would go as far as to say that she's one of my favorites so far in the show because, like I said, all the development she had after that time skip, it really showed up in this episode because it was very focused and centric on her. So what you see after that is, Kana gives him the script and he kind of looks at it. He's like, it's okay, I'll get through it. And then we cut to pretty much they go on set and, she really gives him, like the whole layout about the thing. Like, yeah, we got the guy that shoots the, like he looks for locations, like it's very small budgeted, but she's like, everybody's giving it their all. So therefore I'm going to give it my all and you should give it your all as well. And Aqua's like, yeah. And then he has a realization where he's like, maybe as a kid, when I was a baby, when I was like the brain of an adult, my acting was very great because I knew what I had to do. But now as an adult, I just feel like a dime in a dozen when it comes to actors. And I thought that was a very interesting key point that he mentioned because, yeah, he's absolutely right. I mean, you go as a baby, as a baby, you would definitely shine in the child industry because there's not saying too much with that. There's not too many talented babies that can act like the way that an adult would. So now that he finally caught up with the adult, the adult is kind of much more hard, I would assume, to get a role. So how we end the episode is that we actually see Aqua come face to face with the suspect of who he thinks is going to be, his father, or why not the guy that's the producer. And what we see is that not only that, to put more salt in the wound, is that he also, the role that he's playing is actually a stalker. And that's very traumatic because a stalker killed Ai. So he playing a stalker is very ironic in a sense because he's trying to get revenge for the murder of their mom, yet he's playing a stalker in this show. So I thought that was very ironic, and why not. But pretty much after that, he finds a cigarette lid, he picks it up, and he's like, I can't wait to get the DNA and see if this is actually my father or not. And we ended up, we see that producer's also kind of like downplaying Kana, where he's like, I'm gonna make worth of her because she is not even in a new union, she's not in any talent agency, she's kind of like just a talented name like from back in the day, but she's not signed to anybody, so I can really get like a cheap like I can really pay her for cheap instead of trying to argue with a manager or an agency. And Aqua, he's just thinking like, what, let me write it out. Like, I want to see how far I can get with this, just to see how far he can even get into the industry, so he can get more information about his mom. And that's how the episode ends. We see Aqua, he looks like he's gonna take a front center stage at acting instead of being behind the shadows. Like he said, it looks like he's gonna take a more frontal approach where he's gonna be acting and make connections through the producers or people in the industry that way. But with that being said, I thought this episode was great, and I'm really enjoying this series. I really think the series so far has been very solid, and I'm very interested in seeing where the story goes from here because I'm loving it so far. But with that being said, what did you guys think about this week's episode? Did you guys hate it? Did you guys love it? Did you guys thought it was alright? Whatever you guys thought, let me know in the comment section down below. Also, thank you so much for sticking all the way to the end of the video. I really appreciate it. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to my YouTube channel for more Oshi no Ko, as well as more anime and manga content in the near future. But yeah, with that being said, I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Bye bye.